That was a great dinner.
So great. Wait, where'd you park the car?
Oh, the one I just sold to Carvana.
What? When did you do that?
When you were still looking at the menu. I went on Carvana.com and all I had to do was enter the license plate or VIN, answer a few questions, and got a real offer in seconds.
They picked up the car already?
No, I parked around the corner. But they are picking it up tomorrow and paying me right on the spot.
Oh, no wonder you picked up the check.
Yeah, about that. Thought we were going halvesies.
Sell your car to Carvana. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get a real offer in seconds.
Hello and welcome to Whispers in the Wings, a theatre podcast hosted by me, Joshua Broadbent, and my lovely, talented co-host, Kelly Plank.
Hello, Josh.
Hello, Kelly Plank.
What a wonderful intro. Thank you.
Welcome. You really deserve that intro because I am so excited for this experience and for us to go on this journey together.
I know. It is going to be a journey, Josh. You, me, and maybe some listeners.
I would hope that our auditorium is full.
Absolutely. You know what? Stalls, dress, everything.
Oh, what about the gods? Don't forget them all the way up the back there. I can see them. I'm waving.
Look, we may only have standing room left.
Oh my God. I find standing room fascinating and I don't think I would ever see a show and stand for it. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
I have so much to say about this, but enough about our audience.
Let's move away from the auditorium and behind the scenes.
Yeah. So I guess a little bit before we get into the formal biographies.
Yes.
How did we meet, Josh?
Well, Kelly, this is a really wonderful story because you told me this recently.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you told me this the day that I asked you if you wanted to host the podcast with me.
Yeah.
And I was in shock because you told me that you were so nervous to speak to me. You were like looking at me as if I was like royalty and you were avoiding eye contact and you just didn't. I don't know.
I was terrified because you obviously run Promptside AU, which is great, been around for years. And I found it whilst I was living and working in the UK and I was just like, wow, this kid's cool. He's doing all of these shows I want to do in Australia. He's really got a career. I moved back over and, stopped my first commercial theatre job again on 9 to 5 The Musical in Sydney as a dresser. And voila, I just
stumble into me.
I do. Well, I see that you're posting about the load-in on Instagram and I send you a really stupid message.
Yeah, I have that message.
Oh,
do you want me to read it to you and to our listeners?
We can see how awkward I am.
Not at all. Not at all. It says 9 to 5 looks brilliant. Super pumped to come and join the fun on Tuesday. All the best for the rest of Bump In. Now, I then followed up with, it's going to be a fun one, Kelly. In my mind, all I knew of you was that I had reached out to you to be like, hi, Kelly, I'm a COVID officer. I need to send you some COVID tests before you start so, we're all covered. I didn't know anything more about you other than that you're going to be dressing on this show and you seemed really excited. And do you know what? I love getting messages like that. I love people being excited about things that I'm excited about.
I felt so embarrassed after I sent that message. So literally we get to tech and we're teching and dressing for a week and I'm in my little crossover nook. Mm-hmm. And you're talking to the dresser next to me, Nathan. Yeah. And I'm just quaking in my boots, going, oh my God, this guy is next to me. He has done so many cool things that I want to do. Don't look at him, don't speak to him. All whilst in my head going, how can I make it known that I'm a stage manager? Mm-hmm. How can I make him aware that I do what he does? So then I talked to Nathan and I'm like, Nathan, you have to introduce me, but don't make it seem like...
Don't be like, hi, this is Kelly. Kelly really wants to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it natural, please, Nathan. And so, he did.
Yeah, he did. He was amazing. And we got talking during tech and you were amazing. Started talking about his...
Stop it.
Look, because, I haven't worked in Australia for a really long time and you were like, hey, reach out to these people. These are the shows that are coming up. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh, this person isn't terrifying.
I had this instant connection with you because you as we've already heard, you've got so much energy and you're just fun. And I find this industry is so much about, everyone's competitive and because there's not a lot of roles.
No, it's honestly, there are only a handful of shows at a time in Australia.
Yeah.
Very different to the UK.
Yeah, which we will get into soon. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to help you. No, that sounds like I'm like here,
a little condescending.
Yeah, not at all. It was not like that. But I was like, hey,
do
you know this technical director? Do you know this one? Do you know this one? And you're like, no. It's like, I'll just send you the emails. That's how I got started. Was me basically begging people, going, who do I email? Please help me.
Look, I think we've all been there.
Well, I feel like we're there at the moment.
I know. And look, it's a very difficult time.
Yeah.
With Rona.
The industry in Australia, as we mentioned just before, is so small, and there aren't a lot of jobs, and because shows don't sit down in theatres for too long, it can be hard to get it. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be as a stage manager? Here's some names. Some of them have not helped me ever in the last 7 years that I've been emailing them. But
you know what?
You might be the lucky one.
It was. So much of it is right place, right time.
Absolutely.
So I just thought that it was absolutely lovely that you were willing to help me out.
Oh, I'm so glad I can help you. And I guess that's sort of where this podcast comes from. I'm going to tell you a great story in just a moment about me asking Kelly if she wanted to join this journey with me. But that is kind of what we want to get out of this podcast. This podcast is aimed for people that are interested in the industry, but may not know a lot about the industry. There's a lot of professionals that are going to be listening to this, and we want to preference it like this is
purely our own experiences.
Absolutely. Like, we're not telling you that this is how it must be done and this is what you should be doing. We're going, this is what we did and this is what works for us.
If you didn't know how to spike a chair properly, which we'll talk about later.
Oh, yes, we will.
Then you will have our preference on how to do that.
Yeah, it's just all about just going on that same thing of, me networking with you and, us chatting about different things that we have over the last couple of weeks. We've only known each other for maybe, 3 weeks now?
I know.
While we're recording?
And yesterday I was trying to help Josh by going, hey, look, this show's coming up. I know who the TD is on it. And I told you who the TD was and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to send them a message.
Well, I know them. Yeah, I know them, but I didn't know that they were doing that show. And that's the thing. A lot of the time, because a lot of people in the industry can be very secretive, I'm very open about what shows I'm working because I want to be proud.
Sometimes people do have to be secretive.
Absolutely. If you do sign those agreements to not say anything about things, you do.
Yeah.
But, my family are really proud of where I am and what I've achieved, and I'm really proud of that. And, I want to tell people about my experiences because I love my job. I love being a stage manager. Look, don't get me wrong, there are bad days.
Oh, I mean, there are bad days in any job.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it's a job, but we also have a passion for it.
Absolutely. So that's sort of why we started this podcast, because we want to share our passion and our love for what we do with anyone that wants to listen.
The way that Josh and I have decided to structure this podcast is like any good show with Act 1, Act 2 and an interval.
Look, don't get me wrong, I do love a one-act show. You get in, get out, see you later. Hello, come from away. So in Act 1, what we will be doing is bringing a topic to the table to discuss. So this week, we're going to be talking about the differences between Australia and the UK. So
very loosely.
Very loosely, because in a moment, we'll go through those formal things, as we said. We'll read out our bios, and you'll find out exactly about Kelly and the amount of work she has done in the UK, and it's just phenomenal.
And at the same time, we're going to be talking about what you have done in Australia, which, if you didn't guess earlier, I'm very envious of.
I am one of those people that I just sell myself very short all the time, and I'm just like, I've done nothing. But look at you, because you've done things I want to do.
Well, we'll get into that in a moment.
Exactly. And then in Act 2, what we'll do is open the questions up to you, the listeners. So there's a couple of ways you can reach us, and all of the information will be in the show notes. You can send us a DM to the @PromptSideAU account, or you can write to us via email to whispersinthewings podcast@gmail.com. I nearly got that wrong. And you can also go to anchor.fm to our podcast page there and leave us a voice message.
Members of the Whispers in the Wings community, this is your Act 1 Beginner's Call. Your Act 1 Beginner's Call. Thank you. I would love to read this bio that you have sent me.
Please. So
that
formal.
I have definitely never laid eyes on before and never rehearsed in my life. So let's get to it. Joshua Broadbent is an Australian-based freelance stage manager who most recently toured as an assistant stage manager props on Come From Away. Growing up in Lake Macquarie, New South Wales, Joshua found his interest in theatre at the age of 10 after joining a local Newcastle theatre company, Young People's Theatre. While he enjoyed performing, it was the technical side of theatre where he found his passion. His commitment to YPT saw him working on 3 to 4 productions a year. Wow. And after multitasking roles. In 2012, he was appointed the technical officer, which required him to oversee all the technical elements of the theatre. He held this position until the following year. Sorry, that's amazing. Joshua attended the National Institute of Dramatic Art, NIDA, and graduated in 2015 with a Bachelor of Dramatic Art Production. During his final year, he had the opportunity to work with some of the leading entertainment practitioners, such as Sydney New Year's Eve for City of Sydney, Ada for Handa Opera on the Sydney Harbour, and the premiere of Matilda the Musical for Louise Weathers and Associates. I'm jealous. Since graduating, he continues to explore his passions through events, plays and musicals. Most notably, in the last 4 years, he has toured as the calling ASM on The Wizard of Oz and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for Crossroads Live, previously Gordon Frost organisation, and as the props assistant stage manager on Evita for Opera Australia and Crossroads Live, and Come From Away for new theatricals. That is quite the resume. Just going to put that out there.
So, you've read mine. I'm going to flip it around and we're going to read yours.
Okie dokie. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Kelly Plank is an Australian-based freelance stage manager who most recently worked on the Australian Open and the Melbourne Summer Set Series for Tennis Australia as the stage manager for Margaret Court Arena and Rod Laver Arena. Wow, I want to know all about being a stage manager for something like that, but we'll go into that later. Now, at the age of 19, Kelly began working professionally within the Australian Music Festival circuit. Another very interesting topic that I want to dive into.
A bit different from theatre.
Absolutely. As a stage manager for the Rainbow Serpent Festival and an artist liaison for Falls Music Festival. Shortly after, Kelly began studying a Bachelor of Fine Arts, Production and Performance Technology at the Victorian College of the Arts before switching her major to stage management. Upon leaving VCA, Kelly moved to Sydney to work as an assistant stage manager for Pinchgut Opera's Bayazet before relocating to Townsville to work as a deputy and technical stage manager for Dance North. In 2015, this is where it gets exciting, Kelly moved to the UK where she worked as an assistant and deputy stage manager for the next 5 years. Her most notable works include depping, which is British for swinging, on Thriller Live for Flying Music Ltd in the West End, touring as the deputy stage manager for Priscilla Queen of the Desert for Mark Goucher Ltd, and the Full Monty for David Pugh and Dafford Ltd, and as the ASM/book cover for the UK tour of Phantom of the Opera with Cam Mack. I butchered your bio.
No, you're fine.
I would like to note that you also wrote them out phonetically.
I did, and yet it still didn't help. No, you got Bayazet.
A Bayazet, yes. Yeah, it's better than Bayazet, which is what I probably would have said.
It's all good.
Kelly, looking at your bio, I am excited because I have so many questions that I'm dying to ask you and will need 400 hours for me to sit down with you to discuss all of this.
You're excited. I'm excited. I am so keen to talk to you about what you've done in Australia because I have such little experience in Australia.
And that's what makes this podcast so exciting, is because we just have such different experiences.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at your bio, your CV, you've worked as a props assistant stage manager, but then you've also worked as an assistant stage manager. We don't differentiate like that in the UK, in my experience.
Yeah, because in the UK, you don't, you have a props team to get you started.
On some shows.
On some shows, so not even all shows.
No. So depending on whether you're remounting or it's a new show, a lot of the time ASMs will be given petty cash to go out and buy props.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my experience here, because on Evita, I was the props / ASM, so props first, you could say. And on Come From Away, I was ASM props.
Wow.
Which really, it's just how you were contracted. Really, there's not much difference.
Okay.
On Evita, though, because there was the two ASMs, the other ASM was ASM props.
Sure.
So props second, where I was props first. Very, very odd. It's very weird. But it was sort of more my responsibility were props. So she got to call the show. It wasn't a long season. She got to call the show, and then I got to focus on props sort of first.
Okay, so that's kind of how we do things in my experience, how we do things in the UK is that an ASM will look after props.
Yep.
So, you will have, that'll just be part of your plot backstage is running props around, whatever. Well, I mean, we're both working on 9 to 5 at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a props department.
There is.
What is that about?
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to that at all.
Yeah, well, typically most shows have a props department. I mean, half have and half haven't out of the shows that I've done.
Sure.
For 9 to 5, originally there was only a head of props.
Yep.
And then the ASM, I believe, was an ASM props. I don't know what they're contracted for now.
Okay.
So they were sort of going to be responsible for both. And even in the ASM plot, or the stage management plot, as it's referred to, is props things. There are props elements still within it. So it's sort of like a combination thing. But during rehearsals for 9 to 5, they realize, well, there's a lot of props in this show. So we better, we should look at taking the load off the head of props and the ASM because, they've all got other things to be doing and all of that sort of stuff. So the secondment was asked if they wanted to stay on full time.
Amazing. Right place, right time.
Right place, right time. Right?
Yes. So with that being said, if you were on a show as an ASM but you weren't contracted for props, what do you do?
Well, look, it's very interesting. In Wizard of Oz, where I was an ASM, not a props, we had a props team.
Wow.
Some of my cues involved Toto, the dog. Which we do want to talk about in another episode, working with dogs and children and all of that sort of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I had some dog cues. And mostly they were releasing Toto. So the dog trainer would always be receiving him because he was the point that the dog had to run to. Yeah, a lot of the time it's just sort of spotting. You're watching the show, you're watching actors up on chairs, you're watching actors around automation pieces, you're watching the flies come in, you're sort of like an extra set of eyes.
Sure.
And also making sure you've got cast in the wings and making sure everyone's sort of at the places and where they need to be. And sometimes it can also involve prop stuff or helping mechs, knife up things into the deck for automation and all of that sort of stuff. So it's not like you're just standing there twiddling your thumbs. You can be quite busy.
Yeah. No, that it's quite different to my experience in the UK.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of the shows that I worked on as part of a ASM position, even if it was book cover or whatnot, you would deal with the props in rehearsals, you deal with the props during the show, you deal with the props during cover calls and whatnot. So a lot of your track would be, making sure that tables are set in wings to go on, that personal props are delivered at the top of the show or whatever. And so I only really experienced one show, which was Phantom, where we had a props team, Marcus Hall Props. Brilliant company to work with who do loads of big shows in the UK. They supplied everything for rehearsals. and any issues that we had before opening night, they would deal with.
Right,
So
okay.
we teched for a month, which was a very long time.
God. Oh, God. Most of the shows I've done was being tagged in like 2 days.
Yeah, well, I mean, we used it down to the last tee on Phantom.
Yeah.
Up until opening night, we had Marcus Hall props. We had 1 or 2 people looking after the props for us. Like, we still, for Phantom, almost everything flew backstage.
Right.
So we'd have the massive manager's desk flown. We flew the throne, and even the dressing room set and whatnot. But as soon as opening night came, it was our responsibility to make sure that everything looked appropriate. If something massive happened, we could contact Marcus Hall Props and they would, send us something or whatnot. But you're given a touch-up kit and you're shown how to look after things from venue to venue. Yeah, so there were 2 ASM tracks on that show. One involved the boat.
Like driving the boat?
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
So it's kind of like a remote control thing.
I have heard from the head of props that worked on the Australian production
Yeah.
terrifying things about that boat and the fact of zero visibility with candles and low fog and stuff.
Look, that's why we teched for a month. No, we literally spent a month with the boat. So yeah, we had one track where stage left. No, yeah, prompt side.
Prompt side stage left.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting so confused because we don't use prompt and OP.
That's fair.
So yeah, stage left dealt with the boat and stage right dealt with a 2-story Pegasus. But yeah, no, I find that fascinating that you guys have, both kind of, some shows have prop departments and some don't. I think it's a really interesting way of doing it. And I guess it speaks to you that you have experience in both.
Yeah. I'm like, it's I think very important in the industry, and especially as a stage manager, and especially like you right now being a dresser on 9 to 5. Being multi-talented, being
multifaceted.
I was going to say multi-skilled, and then I went talented, and we went everywhere. But it's really important to be able to branch out from your sort of desired skill, because especially right now in the industry that we're in, with everything that's happening in the world, we need to be able to adapt and evolve and change. And
absolutely,
I'm glad I have those skills.
Absolutely, but I think like even prior to what's going on in the world at the moment, one of the main assets of stage managers is their willingness and ability to adapt.
Yeah.
And so being able to swap and change and first and foremost understand what other departments do is one of the best assets that you can have as a stage manager, regardless as to what position you're in.
Absolutely. I hope you don't mind me jumping in now. I have a follow-up question for you, because you're so fascinated by that props ASM world.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the way that stage management works in London, in the UK.
Yeah.
Because you were, in your bio you use the word depping, which basically is similar to a swing. You come in, you swing. But the structure is different to what it is in Australia, because the dep isn't contracted to the show, which hurts my brain to think about.
So it's kind of like with musicians have deps.
Yeah.
So if they're sick or whatever, they call someone in and they've got a pool of deps who know they're part of the show. So it's kind of similar to that. I depped on Thriller in the West End, and I think, I don't know, they might have had a pool of 7 or so deps, and you'd literally just get a call up and go, hey, you available? And you just come in and do the plot. I was lucky. I got to work on it for months at a time, like doing 8 shows a week between touring. and I got to work with other deps there. But I covered the ASM plot and the SM plot, and
Right.
which meant I got to do pyro.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, I don't know why anybody would have trusted me with pyro, but there we are.
So could you be a dep on multiple shows at a time?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and some people, that's how they make their living.
Right.
And
I guess with a pool like that, like with, say, a pool of 6 people, if you ring someone, they go, no, I can't come in tonight, you just ring the next person.
Yep.
Is that a bad mark against your name because you say no?
Nope. It's only a bad mark if you decide to cancel on what you have said yes to first, and it gets around.
Okay. So I guess that position doesn't really work in Australia, does it?
No, because you guys don't sit down
No.
for very long. You're around for a few months.
Yeah.
Maybe a year prior to COVID.
Well, yeah. But even then, as a swing, you come on, you're contracted 2 or 3 shows a week. But then
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're typically contracted 2 or 3 shows a week. So it's not like you're going to sign on, do 2 weeks of training and then never get called in.
Okay.
You are guaranteed at least 2 or 3 shows a week.
So are you casual or are you contracted?
You're
or are you casually contracted?
You're casual, but you are contracted to the show. Like you sign your
okay.
contract. You're like, it's like taking a casual job.
Yeah.
But that's all the hours you get. But then you're sort of on call.
Sure.
Because there's only one of you.
Right.
That if something happens to the stage management team, they lose 1 or 2, you kind of have to. So you're expected to drop your plans and go to work because otherwise the show won't be able to go ahead.
That's really different to my experience.
I like the pool idea.
Yeah, no, the pool idea is excellent.
But I also do like having guaranteed work for the week and going, okay, each week I'm going to be making this amount of money to put away or to pay and live and
absolutely.
do all that. I mean, there's so many more differences we can talk about, but that's God.
But I think, if you're okay with this, that now's a good time for intermission.
Popcorn Podcast with Lee and Tim is your weekly fix for all things movies.
It's bite-sized, moreish and a little salty.
Every week we review the latest cinema releases as well as chat movie news and trailer insights.
Search Popcorn Podcast with Lee and Tim on your favourite podcast app now.
Members of the Whispers in the Wings community, this is your Act 2 Beginner's Call, your Act 2 Beginner's Call. Thank you.
Josh.
Yes.
Welcome to Act 2.
Oh, that intermission just went too long.
I know. Look, I think we held the house for a couple of minutes.
Oh, look, they were slow getting back to their seats. Guys, come on, sit down.
Pre-order your drinks, please.
Oh, my God. Yes, please.
So now we get to the nitty-gritty bit where we engage with the audience.
Boop, 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 boop. So, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, there's a couple of ways you can reach us. You can direct message, DM us at PromptSiteAU, which is the sort of the main account we're using at the moment. We do have a Whispers in the Wing podcast account, but we don't know what's happening there. You can also reach out to us at whispersinthewingspodcast@gmail.com. And you can head to anchor.fm, which the link is in the show notes, and you can leave us a voice message. So you can actually physically, using your voice, ask us a question that we will play in this segment.
I am so excited for that.
So excited.
For the moment, you did the pleasure of asking what people wanted to know.
I did.
On your prompt side.
I did. We got some
Instagram.
really good ones.
We did. One is kind of what we were talking about a little bit earlier. So Morgan asked, as a swing, are you required to know each of Stage Management's tracks?
Okay. Are we going to throw it to me first?
Yeah, because you're swinging. You're an actual swing at the moment. Hit it.
So, in my experience as a swing on a show, you typically only learn the ASM track. So if there's two ASMs, you'll learn both plots.
Right.
If there's one, you'll obviously just learn the one. For my experience at the moment, because I have experience in show calling, they are also going to get me to learn the call.
That's so exciting.
So I'm not necessarily learning the deputy's track. I don't, do timesheets for the cast. I don't do everything they do.
Yeah.
I just have that extra opportunity to call because of the current climate we're in and because there's only 3 of them on a team. If there was 4 with 2 ASMs, I dare say that this opportunity wouldn't exist for me. So I am grateful that it does. But it also does depend on each show. You know, I'm not there to cover the stage manager. Like, I'm not going to step in and be like, I am the stage manager, do as I say. That's the deputy will step up and take that extra responsibility, lead the show, lead the production, and the ASM, is there to assist.
Yeah.
So I will learn whatever plots are available. But in this case, I'm also learning a props plot.
Yeah, wow. That's really, you're doing quite a lot, which is kind of cool. I mean, the fact that you're going to learn the show call is pretty exciting.
I am very excited. I'm holding on to that hope of calling a show for the first time in 2 years, over 2 years.
Yeah, I can imagine. You know what? I think we're going to have a whole episode on show calling.
Absolutely,
and I
we
am
are.
pumped.
I'm so pumped. So what, in your experience, we've sort of discussed as a DEP what you do.
Yeah, so I got to cover the SM and the ASM, and literally it was normally Saturdays and Sundays that I'd cover the stage manager, and literally the stage manager would either call the show or swap over to the ASM track.
Yeah.
But then I would have their responsibility.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to note is that in both our experiences, the stage manager and the deputy and the ASM, they don't stay in that place.
No.
The ASM will call the show, the DSM will do the deck plot.
Yeah.
The DSM might float for a show and the stage manager will call, or the stage manager will do the deck plot. Like the way the team works allows everyone to sort of do stuff, especially here in Australia.
Absolutely. It's all fluid.
Yeah.
And it is very much like that in the UK as well.
Yeah.
That the whole point of having a team is not only just to get the show up and running, but to be able to have that cover. And also, if you're doing the exact same job, 8 shows a week,
Boring.
exactly, you're going to forget things.
Yep.
You're going to run on autopilot.
Absolutely. It just keeps it fresh and exciting.
Yeah. So, Morgan, we do get to know various tracks.
Yes. Thank you very much, Morgan.
And sometimes those tracks are outside of stage management.
Sometimes they are indeed. Now, the next question comes from Rachel. And I threw this question to Kelly a couple of days ago off the podcast and her face sort of gave me this reaction of, oh no, I think we're going to have different opinions. So I went, let's not discuss this any further. And we've been pondering this, and I've been dying inside for I reckon 5 days now, trying to figure out what your answer is going to be. So Rachel asked, if you were to spike chairs, would the chair sit on top of the spike or in front? So if I was to spike a chair, the chair would sit just in front. So the spike tape, and it's sitting on it so you can see where the spike tape is. Oh no, Kelly, don't give me this face.
No, I'm so glad you said that, because if I'm spiking something, you need to be able to see the spike mark.
Exactly.
So you want it to be in front. I'm so glad.
Because I said to Kelly very confidently, I am right. Whatever
you did.
Yeah, whatever I'm choosing is the right choice.
And I would have to agree with you. Now look, if you do it another way, that's your prerogative.
Well, I mean, it's just got to be a way that works and everyone understands.
Exactly.
My reason for this, though, and why you put the mark and then sit in front, if you were to corner spike, so if you had an item that had to sit in a corner, well, you're going to sit it in the corner. You're not going to have it sitting over the top, because then you've got to move it to mark it. You've got to move it to then put the spike tape down, then move it back and then do the same. You're not going to get it right.
But also, if you're an actor going to set that piece of furniture in the corner, it is easier to go over the mark as opposed to putting something into the mark. Mm-hmm. So if you're going over and it's in front of the mark, you know that you've hit your mark.
Well, Kelly, I think this brings us to the end of our very first episode of Whispers in the Wings.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Morgan and Rachel, for sending in those questions.
Thank you so much.
And to everybody else who has sent in questions as well. We're very organised, have a checklist of the ones that we have answered and the ones that we have yet to answer.
Absolutely. We will continue to answer them and hopefully more and hopefully some voice messages.
Absolutely. So again, please feel free to DM PromptSideAU or email us at whispersinthewingspodcast@gmail.com.
Or send a voice message on Anchor, which you'll see all of that information in the show notes. And in order to get this show up and running and moving along and getting some more listeners, would love you to head over to where you find your podcasts and leave us a rating or a review. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening.
Till next time.
Till next time. Whispers in the Wings acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to elders past, present and future. We acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Hello and welcome to the Cheese Wheel Podcast, your new favorite podcast about hyperfixations gambled on a wheel. In this podcast, we are covering anything that we want to talk about, but the problem is we don't know what we're covering every week, and it's something new every time. And I am joined by two of my co-hosts, Andrew DeWolf.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
And Liz Eston.
Hello. Also very happy to be here.
And this show is weekly, and every time someone else brings something to the table that's a little bent. We're going to be covering anything and everything, including Chaperone's new album, Spy Kids, and the film version of Waitress. We're going to have a new episode every Friday, and you're going to see the vast arrays of interests we might have. Andrew, what might be one of your choices?
Oh, I mean, I could pick something like, I don't know, famously bad movie, Miami Connection, and we could have a good time watching something that I love that's kind of terrible. Or I could pick something incredibly good, like Jacob's Ladder, which is my favorite movie of all time.
Incredible. And Liz, what about you?
I don't know. I could go with something like a Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, so I can talk about my favorite comedy, since Jess didn't let me do it on the old podcast.
Well, funny you bring that up. In case you're wondering what happened to Musicals with Cheese, we ended that show, but the show's still here and living on in season 1. So if you want to go back and listen to our backlog, that's still here. But right now, we're just the Cheese Wheel. Please keep on listening. We got a lot of fun stuff to come, and we hope that you like what we're doing.